Hello guys, VO English coming at you from No Limits Gaming once again. This is showing you Rundown and how to nuke it on TDM. I have probably 6 nukes recorded on this map, and all of them are objective, but people call for TDM. So first of all, let's get right into the action to talk about that. Team Deathmatch, you don't have a lot of kills available, so it's important to get stuck in. I get stuck in, but at the same time it's important to learn from mistakes and not give up. I think is probably the biggest thing I can tell you guys to do, especially when you're going for nukes. Because I definitely have a hard time here at the beginning. As you'll see me get slaughtered, and the reason I get slaughtered is I go to the main choke point and just get owned. It's a silly thing to do, and I'm like, I know, I'll run across the mirror bridge and now solve the problem. And sometimes it solves the problem, and I get away with it for a little bit here. But to be honest, it's not until your team pushes across. I should have flanked to the far right. And so for this nuke, you can see I'm on painkiller now, and you're like, that's it. He's not going to die again. But I do. I die one more time, and then I go big. So let's talk about not giving up. It's always important to keep positive. It's important to be aware of the different kinds of nukes. First of all, I'm using my one-man army setup that I have done in various videos, and that's one-man army, stop and power, ninja pro, task 21 silenced, and I have a cold-blooded class with a UMP silenced because UMP has a little bit more damage than every other gun in the game. So, it's one of the few guns I feel comfortable with using cold-blooded reliably. I have stuns and semtexes on this kit, and I have claymores on the cold-blooded version, and I have an F2000 grenade launcher with commando pro and danger close pro as another kit, and that's fairly important too. And the second and third kits both have claymores attached. You can set up a maximum of 2 claymores, so it's worth utilising this if you're ever going to sit in one spot. But let's talk about Rundown and how this map works. So first of all, you've got to be aware that if you're playing in a small group like I'm playing on 2, you've got to be aware of green team, as I like to call them. And green team is not a nice term. Green team is the people you don't know and you're playing with that aren't in your party, and they'll do things that aren't helpful. So right now my green team has pushed the spawn, and my good friend Melancholy, one of the most talented snipers you know, is quite happily sitting up in one spot, and because green team moved away from him and he's up high, the enemy spawn literally switches to right below him. And that could work in his favour, but it's not going to happen when there's that many of them, and he's not using a silencer. But so as you can tell, green team's been dying a fair amount, and that's why they're here, and that's why they keep spawning around us. And what you want to do when you're using this approach, is you want to keep flanking and stay away from everyone else. That's why you're using a silencer in the first place. Okay, so let's talk about nukes for TDM the whole way. I cut this video down just to show you the good stuff. Kept it nice and short if I can, but it shows the whole match. But for TDM, it's a short game anyway, so you have a short number of kills before the game's over. So you can either go on the offense like I do and use assault rifles and SMGs with silencers, or you can sit back with a reliable SMG, LMG or sniper rifle. The only point in sitting back is if you can sit at a reliable choke point, because as a lot of people I know and have played with in the past, they'll sit in a spot the whole game and they'll only get like 3 kills and the game will be over because they've been sat at a bad point. But if you're sat in a choke point, like if you watch the very beginning of the video, and I think it's my second death, where that person is sat, you can sit fairly reliably there on objective games and get far too many kills than is good for you. Just in case you haven't watched my video before, I'm using a Harrier chopper gun and nuke. I've had this video for like nearing a month and a half now, so still in the phase where I was happily using the chopper gunner. But this isn't really telling you about Rundown. Rundown is quite a simple map. Three bridges. And with those 3 bridges you have one big building on one side overlooking the bridges, and you have 3 smaller buildings looking over the other side. Well, technically 4, but they spawn very back. There are 2 spawn points that are ripe for... Well, 2 spawn areas that are ripe for air support kills. One of them is at the top of the... Well, I call the embassy, like you do with the map invasion. But at that top point, where the chopper gunner is shooting now, the other point is where they were before the spawn switched. Across the far left bridge if you're looking from this side of the map, or the far hand right hand bridge if you're looking from the other side of the map. I will say that the side where I currently am is a much stronger side if you're playing against a good team and you really want to have control of this side. 9 times out of 10, especially if you're playing in slightly smaller teams like Team Tactical. But I'm all out of time, so pleasure talking to you guys. Hope you like the Rundown Nuke, hope you find it helpful. Never give up when you die. It's VR English. Lots of love.